Okay, folks, it looks like we are live here and ready to go. What the heck is going on, guys? And welcome to the Xbox Roundtable podcast. This is episode number 179, the place to be on Sunday nights for Xbox talk and more from around the game industry. This is yours truly, Invader, and we've got a lot of stuff on the docket. Xbox added 13 EA titles to its FPS boost list. As well, we got news of AMD bringing its Fidelity FX technology to Xbox Series consoles. On top of that, Xbox Game Pass is seeing huge numbers, a huge boost there. As well, some other news from around the industry and some rumors. But before we get into all of that fun stuff, let me introduce tonight's panel. And joining us tonight are two really cool guys from the Gaming Beyond the Box podcast. First up, let me introduce HRBomber. Hey, buddy, how you doing?
Man, doing pretty good. It's been an interesting last week. This weekend's been pretty good, so excited to be on here. Definitely appreciate the invite. So yeah, I definitely want to get into some of these topics, of course.
Naturally, buddy. Yeah, I can't wait to hear some of your feedback on all this stuff. All right, and next up, we got Leonatis. Hey, it's great to have you here, my friend. How's things?
Oh, things are going okay. Thanks for having me on, and nice to see everybody.
Short and sweet. I like that, buddy.
Yeah, that's how I am. I'm just if you watch any game beyond the box, I just go short with it.
Hey, no problems there, pal. As we got people filing into the chat, next up we'll move over to the TXR crew, and we'll start with TimDog. Hey, buddy, ready for a good time tonight?
Sure, I am very happy. The panel here today, the people the people coming on, guests, very cool people. I'm just setting up my my microphone right now so it can get better for the show.
Sounds good, my friend. Yeah. Let's see here, and we got Centurion. Hey, my Arizona buddy, how you doing tonight?
Oh, not bad. And Sunday night, the sun's still up, and yes, it's still hot outside, but I am ready to hang out with the great cast you've assembled tonight, man. Let's talk some games.
Yeah, agreed on that one, brother. Shockley's gonna be here in a few minutes. He's just running a little bit behind. I can't wait to hear what he has to say on a few things. But however, before we begin, just a quick reminder to everyone that you can find TXR on a variety of audio platforms, such as Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, and many others. So if you happen to miss the show live and are on the go, then you know what? Give us a search on your favorite audio spot. Nothing like listening to TXR on the go. Okay, fellas, you know what? Let's get started here. And our first topic of the night, and as of a few days ago, what was it? The paywall for free-to-play games has finally been removed and lifted for all players on Xbox Live. Games like Fortnite and Warzone will not need a subscription. I mean, that's pretty cool. That's pretty big in my opinion, a pretty big deal. I know we've been waiting for that for a few months since it was announced back in January, something like that. Bomber buddy, I'll start with you on this one. Kicks things off with the guest. What do you think about this? Is this a move that seems like it's been a long time coming?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, this is something that personally should have been a thing a long time ago. But I'm glad they finally decided to, put forth this effort to make sure that, the free-to-play games are actually free to play. And of course, now you're seeing, a lot easier queue times going into like Warzone, stuff like that already. I've already noticed that. So just knowing you're going to be able to, get into more games, have more people playing. So at least you have that. Of course, the other cool thing about like Warzone, which I personally like, is, now you have those little newbies that you get to you get to go after, and you can definitely tell because yeah. But it's definitely something good that I believe that Xbox should have done a long time ago. But hey, at least it's happening now. So
All right, yeah, definitely. I mean, this definitely helps. I mean, I know for years upon years, this has been kind of a sore talking point, right? Having to ante up and pay for what everybody else seems to have for free, whether it be on PlayStation, PC, and elsewhere. It's just it's something that's coming off of it's definitely something that Microsoft can get off its back. Xbox and it's just nice to be able to get rid of that. And I gotta say too, guys, does this kind of move? Does this help? Does this move? Will it benefit the systems in any way, like the Series S or the Series X? Like, does this draw more attention towards, for example, the Series S? Because you look at a $300 price point, it's small and works great with the new TVs. When you think about, if I'm like just the average day consumer, for example, and I can play like popular games like Warzone and Fortnite and all that jazz, Destiny 2, I mean, you get to play next gen hardware and updated games now for free like that. Is this a benefit going forward?
Absolutely, without a doubt. I think it's going to help the system sell better. I think that's why PlayStation sold so much, personally, as well. Because I mean, you had the free to play games there that the Fortnites of the world, stuff like that, is you can just jump in. So I mean, it makes sense for I think the Series S will probably sell a lot more than it previously was just because of that. So at least that's my 2 cents. I definitely think it's going to benefit them tenfold.
It's going to make families a lot happier too, because they don't have to pay $10, just to get the Xbox Live for their kids to play Fortnite and that.
Mm-hmm. No, absolutely.
I think it was important for them to stay true to what they're doing, being all about the player, and being customer friendly, and having the cheaper prices right now for games, not $70 games as we know it, Game Pass, entry point. So when you had it, when it wasn't not free to play, that didn't make sense. That kind of contradicted their whole entire, pitch to the consumer. So for this to happen and the way they handled it, basically came about because of the Xbox Live price, and I thought they did that well. This was planned, but this kind of now makes them consistent, and their overall pitch and the value proposition didn't make sense when you had. I always said that we said this on this panel. I said it on other podcasts. It didn't make sense. It was the you got everything so pro consumer, and then you have this archaic paywall. It just didn't make sense, and they finally got it right. And I think it's going to benefit them because I think that overall now their quality proposition and everything that they're pushing towards the gamer and the casual gamer is very good at this point. It's a pretty solid offering.
The crazy thing is they're the only ones that had that paywall too.
Yeah, and that was during that was the one thing that Sony fanboys and people would always say to me, and I would say, you do have a point there. Here they're doing all this awesome stuff, and they have this stupid, like I said, this old paywall that didn't make any sense for free to play games. People want to just be able to get a system and sometimes just play. I think that Xbox, they are a business at heart. Sometimes thought, hey, well, if that's the case, then we're not going to get a way to get a customer's, credit card on the machine. We need to get them at least signed to Xbox Live, So that was, I think, was the way of thinking. But you have to realize that now it's a different ballgame, and they should have read that a lot earlier than they did. It was definitely a long time coming.
Oh, well, yeah, most definitely.
Plus the the rise of the Xbox Live didn't help. Oh wait, I guess it did help. It made them switch their mind in less than a week to say
exactly.
less than 24 hours, switch it back to their mind, and then like, you know what? We're just gonna make it free. Here we go.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. Centurion, what are your thoughts on this? I mean, it took long enough, right, for this to happen. You know, finally gets the monkey off of Xbox's back in a lot of ways, right?
It definitely gets it off their back, definitely for sure. It's a step in the right direction. Um, I'm one of those that also understood why they created the paywall in the first place. It shouldn't have. It's one of those things where it shouldn't have been on a free to play basis. I don't know. There could be an argument made on both ways, but it's good to see that they're actually just starting to take the more popular route, and that is making at least the free to play games themselves free to play. But it's going to be nice if they actually. I say at this point, with the way it looks, they should really kind of follow this with most multiplayer gaming in general. I don't think we really need a paywall at all anymore to once upon a time, the paywall was there to help maintain the servers, but now we know these companies have different avenues of creating services or ways for us to help kind of float the cost for those servers without having to make it feel like a paywall just to play multiplayer. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. Oh, no, it absolutely does, right? And I understood why they had that paywall in the beginning, but I mean, uh, again, the market and things have changed for, I mean, Xbox Live has been around for, what, 20 years now? Something like that?
Oh yeah, definitely. So the original business model probably is completely outdated. I could see why they were making a push to want to get people into the more updated service model. Um, Definitely went about it the wrong way, got themselves in a lot of heat. They definitely, like Bomber said, they backtracked that real quick, and then they said, you know, we're gonna also take away that paywall on games like free to play because their competitor, like PlayStation, games like Fortnite and other popular free to play games, you didn't have to put out any money at all to be able to play them. So definitely, it's a step in the right direction for sure.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, again, it's nice to see them doing this this very consumer friendly approach. And like Tim was saying earlier, you know, Microsoft for the past, or Xbox the past, well, few years now, they've been really building up a strong base with just how they react to their fans and how well they've been talking to them and so on, to the consumer base. And it's a stark difference in comparison to their competition, whether it be PlayStation, Nintendo, and so on. And that's always refreshing to see. It's just they were kind of lagging behind in that regard with respect to some of their paywalls. And yeah, I'm happy to see them go free to play with a lot of this. Again, guys, this is a good thing. This is very pro consumer, and I am happy to see this out the gate. I mean, again, I'm kind of wondering if we'll see any more changes to Xbox Live Gold and the other facets of it down the line within the next couple of months. Just very interesting to see. But yeah, again, it's a good move, and really looking forward to what they have going forward. You know what, guys? I mean, we've talked about this before. Just kind of nice to get it out of the way now, finally, since they gave the official word. But we will move on to some other news that made the rounds. And it looks like Xbox Game Pass has been pulling in some really impressive, massive numbers. And according to our buddy Jez Corden over at Windows Central, Xbox Game Pass subscribers have reached 23 million as of April 20th. Wow, right? And considering that back in January, I think it was reported that numbers were at something like 18 million, if I'm not mistaken. And that's a massive increase of about 5 million subscribers within 4 months. I mean, oh, wow, that's nothing to laugh at, to say the least. So really interesting stuff here, and I've got to say, I'm curious what my castmates here think of this. Leonatis, it seems like Game Pass is just on a roll here. What do you think has been driving this upwards trajectory?
The games. I mean, you get a whole list of games for one simple price that isn't expensive at all. I mean, it saves you on paying, how much for new games. So you just pay the what, 14.99? Isn't it? I think that's the ultimate price, and you get access to the games on your console, games on your PC. I mean, it's just a good deal. I mean, who doesn't want that?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, absolutely. Centurion, do you have any thoughts as to what could be really driving this for us? I mean, of course, the games, but I mean, look at the types of games they've been adding too. Again, at the beginning of the month, we had Outriders Day 1. I mean, say what you will about it, it was a pretty high-profile AAA game that just dropped into the service within, a couple of weeks of it being announced for it, and it got a lot of numbers being drawn to it.
So Game Pass is actually being used for multiple reasons. Like you just said, Outriders, a game that really probably more than likely Square Enix and them were a little trepidatious over releasing the game because pre-orders I heard weren't exactly what they wanted. So the Game Pass is a service that is a good stepping stone for a game in that situation. Um, Let's look at an organization like the MLB, and Tim Dog will probably like where this one's going. This organization has had to somehow break down the walls. The idea that a game that has been exclusive since its creation is no longer exclusive. They now have to undo a marketing campaign that lasted for years. How else can we do that? Oh, let's just shove it in Game Pass so that way everybody has the game. Try it out. We know it exists. It's no longer exclusive. So Game Pass is also being used as an avenue to kind of break down that barrier for them. I love the fact that Game Pass constantly has content coming in and out of it, new content, games that, heck, they even throw older games in there sometimes for us to enjoy once again. There is always a constant influx of games in and out of Game Pass, something always new, something to be excited about. And I'm going to be upfront. I never felt that way about the services that PlayStation offered. You always went in there and you just kind of, yeah, there was, if you wanted to go into their services, it's kind of like to relive the past, but there was nothing new or exciting to be like, oh my God, I need to have the service. And somehow Microsoft really captured that by obviously being the first ones to ante up and say, we're going to throw our stuff in there day and date from our first party studios. And I'm pretty sure a lot of executives probably were like, we're going to see how this works for them. And now all of a sudden we're just seeing a lot of game developers, gaming executives are all wanting to put products in Game Pass because it can just be used in so many different ways.
Mm-hmm. Right. I mean, you are correct when you say that there's a lot of things that are driving towards Game Pass. You make some really good points there.
It's enticing if it's enticing to somebody who wants to, because you got to think about it. These guys aren't really, we're all talking about $15 here, $15 there, $10 here if you're not wanting Game Pass Ultimate. But how much do some of these executives or these developers kind of like, cut Microsoft in for putting something in Game Pass? So if let's just put it this way, if developers and publishers are beating down Microsoft's door to want to put their product in this service, I am pretty sure that there is consumers out there that are definitely paying attention to this, and everybody is wanting to check out Game Pass. And it's kind of like one of those things, like the minute you're in the door of Game Pass, you don't want to leave. You're just like, oh my God, there is actually a lot of value here. And you kind of like, you don't really want to go to that cancel button. You really don't.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, speaking of which, I mean, Shockley was very kind to let us know about a nice deal for Xbox Game Pass Ultimate.
Dude,
so
that blew my mind. I know. I'm like thinking about going that tonight. Going, okay, well, looks like I'm gonna start buying about a year of Game Pass.
Yeah, I already bit the bullet on that. I'm pretty stoked. No, it's legit. I definitely suggest checking it out. But I've seen some criticism about like how Microsoft advertises Game Pass. Should they be doing more to kind of get Xbox Game Pass out there to, like, I guess you'd say more normie consumers, you know, just the average person? I know a couple of weeks ago for MLB The Show, they had at a Toronto Blue Jays game, you know, right by the pitcher's mound, Xbox Game Pass, or with MLB The Show, which is good, but should they do more to try and attract people into the service?
Is that for me or?
Well, anybody,
Yeah,
anybody.
you take it. You take it, and I'll follow up.
Oh no, I was wanting to make sure you just didn't say my name directly. You go ahead, TimDog.
Well, I think I don't really think that I think they're doing a very good job in communicating Game Pass, and I think that that's one of the reasons why they saw this jump in numbers, or the rumored numbers, as we say. Listen, they've had a really good month or 2 months of Game Pass news and hype. You remember the sports announcements, Football Manager, all these games, NBA 2K going into the xCloud, GTA again. You can do it through the xCloud. There's been so many Game Pass specific, awesome, really mind-boggling news that's come out that I think that now we're getting to the point where the average consumer, which you say the normie consumer, or the one that they really want to get, starts to understand what Game Pass is. And when that happens, and I think that they're almost there, you're going to see basically a huge jump in subscribers, because when that becomes something that like I said, the average consumer understands and finds value in, then that's the real where Xbox has to be, where the Game Pass has to be, is right there, because then you're becoming, what you've always envisioned, and I think that they're almost there. I think Halo is gonna, push them through. I think they had an internal forecast of 30 million Game Pass, so that was the number. That's about 40 now, and that's insane because they thought 30 was probably a reach. You know what I mean? But they're on fire, and they can't sell enough Xboxes. Everything Xbox they sell is gone. So it's really kind of hard to gauge what's going on. But from what I've heard, and with the overall back end analytics of it, or even just my own social media presence, where when Xbox does good, I see real big jumps, and that's what I'm seeing right now, and that's what Xbox is seeing more so. They're seeing these analytics. A lot of younger Xbox, a lot of younger fans, younger generation says, I don't want to pay $70 for a game without Game Pass service. They're beginning to get it, and I do think Sony has to respond. That's another argument that debate we've talked about on end ad nauseum. So I don't really want to go into that, but that's where it's going right now. You have, like, I see these influxes of like these younger generation people putting me in like these group chats, and I mean, this is something new, and I had to actually ask some people, who might know some stuff. I said, have you seen the younger generation, or have you seen that demographic? Have you seen jumps? And they said yes. So there is something going on right now. The marketing, I think, was always a hard thing to do, because you have to get the average consumer that doesn't know how to turn on a light to try to understand this stuff. And it can happen, but it's just it's the whole maturization of the whole thing. And I think they're way ahead of where they thought they would be. And now it's like I've said on previous shows, it's getting pretty crazy about what they might do, and their next moves and their next The talk of BF6 and Game Pass day one is absolutely crazy if they land that, and stuff like that.
Yeah. I mean, that's true that you bring that up, Tim. I mean, we have heard rumblings of more, like, let's say, third-party, like, bigger titles like AAA's going into the service, possibly. It's easy to speculate on that kind of stuff, but, if we hear something about a big EA title like Battlefield 6 possibly going in sometime, later this year, I mean, that would be pretty huge. That would be a big bump to the service too, especially everybody looking forward to the next Battlefield. That would be big incentive to get into the service. And then, you look at how Battlefield 5 did a few years back, and it kind of it didn't set the world on fire like they thought. Well, for a number of reasons. So I would imagine that they would want to get a pretty solid player base into Battlefield 6. Well, and then there's also the rumor that it would be next gen only. So there's that as well. Yeah, we could speculate all kinds on what AAA would go into there. I'm more interested in getting like a variety of games, obviously, not just the AAAs. Although that's always really nice. Guys, Halo Infinite is supposed to release later this year. You look at the numbers, give or take, let's say that the subscriber count is at 25 million. Could we possibly see even 30 million by the end of this year, like going into Halo Infinite? Like,
easily.
Yeah.
Easily. That was the I think that was the goal, was 30 million, but I think they're past, like, sometimes when business has the forecast, they revise their forecast, and they'll say, "Oh, we're going to sell 5 million less units," or they're gonna go ahead 5 million more. I think they're on the more of the forecast of 35 million, possibly. Depending on how much they can sell and how much they can produce. Yeah, they're in really good shape there.
And what's crazy is that they're doing these numbers really without any help from their first party studios yet. Like, that's what I think is impressive. And I think that's why Xbox is double downing on these third party day and date options, and they're partnering with a lot of different places like EA. They already have EA Play inside of Game Pass. So to maybe if they see maybe Battlefield 6, I know that's the whole speculation of Battlefield 6, like you said earlier, but honestly, I could see that, they just go ahead and put that, day and date on there and just because now they care about the amount of players playing. I've seen it so many times this whole week with different podcasts with different developers on there, always talking about how strong their engagements are and how they're sustaining. They're not just dying off. They're staying high. They may not be at the highest peak still, but they're still barely, consistently at a very good place where they just love and they're able to do more with. So I just think Game Pass is just, it's doing so well. So, once you start getting those big new first party titles, I'm not talking about the older titles like, Gears and stuff like that. We knew those were going in there, but you've seen a huge jump for the Master Chief Collection that you saw. Like, Steam has shown, consistently a ton of player bases running through Twitch and everything like that. So there's a lot of things happening with a lot of even their first party studios, but I believe, like, it's just crazy to see that they're not having any new content come out from their first party, in a while, since what, I guess, the updates to Sea of Thieves or, Hive Busters for Gears 5. So just seeing, people just gravitating that Game Pass is possibly like this third party big deal could be a thing. I don't know how long they can keep that up. Maybe they don't once their first party are starting to roll, but you never know. I mean, their pockets are pretty deep.
Mm-hmm. Oh, totally. Obviously, I mean, the numbers are looking pretty good. It looks like a very healthy and profitable service, to say the least. I know that there were a lot of doubters early on with Game Pass, but there's been a lot of touting of it recently. Obviously, Sony, guys, has what's his name? Jim Ryan has, going back a few months, he was nagging at Xbox Game Pass, and he didn't really see a future for subscription services. However, I get the feeling that they're changing their tune. I think there's been some comments in recent months about having a subscription service. Leonatis, do you see Sony doing an Xbox Game Pass type of service in the near future?
I hope they can build on PS Now. Like, I like PS Now to begin with because it has a lot of RPGs on it, which is rare. So I play a lot of those on there. And like, they have a few exclusives they put in there for a little bit, but I don't see them actually going full exclusive with it. They seem to stick to their guns.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, yeah, Sony does, they really do like having their big AAA games and just just sticking to like the sales, and you know what? I don't blame that. That's worked out pretty well for them for a lot of their big games. But I mean, it's just with all the numbers coming out of Xbox Game Pass, and just again they are pretty striking, to say the least. I can't see them. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. One thing I wish they would change is the streaming crap. Like, all the PS3 games have to be streamed to play them, and the streaming is horrible. I tried playing Metal Gear Solid 4, and yeah, that just did not work out.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, hopefully they do some improvements, whether it be with the streaming at their end, or just update some of their services in general. Maybe improve their backwards compatibility and so on. I would like to see that. Again, people like to play those older titles. It's been proven. So,
well, I never got to play that one when it first came out, and I like Metal Gear because I never owned a PS3. I had the Xbox, the 360, but I never got the PS3. So I was like, oh, I get to play it finally. And then it's like, oh, I can't play it because it's a mess. I don't know why they can't just make it so you can install them like with Xbox, with their 360 games and even their Xbox games. It makes no sense to me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, since we're on the topic of Game Pass, guys, do we have any Xbox Game Pass Ultimate members in the house? Anybody in the chat? Anybody on the panel?
There's non-Ultimate Xbox Game Pass?
I know, that's what I was saying. Like, is that a thing?
Day one.
Right?
I didn't even know there was... They still sell just Game Pass? I thought it was all just the Ultimate Game Pass now. I'm so confused.
There's Xbox Super Ultimate Game Pass now.
I wouldn't be surprised.
All right, so where's that? I mean, what does that include?
You get a secret decoder ring in the mail, and they send you like these little clues in the mail.
Don't forget the certificate.
Well, you get an
HBO Max.
You get an autograph.
They give you this little phone. They give you a phone number. And once a week, you get to call in and hear, like, Matt Booty, Aaron Greenberg, Phil Spencer, somebody like speak inspirational words.
That sounds horrible. I would not be calling that number. I'd be like, man, stop calling my numbers.
Oh, man. Well, guys, Xbox recently sent out invites to beta test the cloud gaming for PC and Apple products, actually, which is pretty cool. Glad to see them getting involved with that. We'd heard some news about that a few weeks back. Has anyone here tried it yet? I know earlier on, before the show started, we were talking about it. If any of you guys have tried it, what have your experiences been? Bomber, we'll start with you.
I didn't get invited to it, which I don't use any iOS stuff, thank the Lord. But I didn't get the thing for the PC, which is what I would love, to be honest, because I have a terrible old PC and I would like to actually play a lot of those RTSs, that are on there already through my PC without actually my PC trying to die. But hopefully I'll eventually get that, but I'll let somebody else on the panel that's actually been able to either test it or whatnot. I mean, I think it's a great option, and I hope to try it soon.
Tim, have you spent any time with it?
Yeah, I spent about an hour, 2 hours. I got into a chat with somebody, Xbox Live chat. It worked. A little bit of a problem there, but we got through it. I reported it. The integration of the mouse and the way your PC works for my I did it off a Windows 10 PC. But the way the way that like the mouse and everything works will coincide with your control that's connected via Bluetooth or hardwired. It's you play 9 out of 10 games and you don't notice it, and it's instant click instant gaming. If you if you want to get a lot of I can see people achievement hunters just going on there and really banging it out. There's no downloads. You just jump right in. I have to say, I was very impressed with it. There is room for growth, a lot of growth. If you have a Surface or even a Mac or anything, it's all web based, so it's done within a website. So I think that's really cool and smart. And like using a Mac on that and having that option, or just even like your MacBooks and stuff like that, I think really opens up a lot of avenues to access your content. Now, let's say you're not home or whatever, and you want to play something. It's going to be easier and easier to do this, and this is the one way I can see them really catapulting it, because everyone has a PC, everyone has a laptop, everyone has an iPhone or an Android. They have that all covered, and the product is, I would say it needs to be in a certain spot, but it's almost there. And this new update it's a big one. This is the type of stuff that might not be a big deal now, but down the line, as we evolve, as gamers evolve, and people play games wherever they want, and it's more readily accessible, and consider, just like say like people play their game right on a lunch table and stuff like that, more and more accepted. I really see this being big for Xbox. It's like I said, it's just started. But as far as Stadia, at this point has to be looking at this and being like, where do we go from here? I mean, the cool thing is that we're all playing right now on the the Xbox One S server shards. So we're basically playing on the Xbox One S. When you start to play on the X servers, there's no lag. Well, there's always be lag, but there's no load screens. You run the games like it would run on an X, a Series X, and I've heard it even makes the experience that much more better, that much more visual, and also the times. Like you could play Destiny in 3 seconds, you think, or whenever, or just when you load. Think about how powerful that could be. I mean, you're somewhere in the middle of nowhere. You could just, all you need is an internet connection that's strong, and the infrastructure of internet is getting bigger and bigger, stronger and stronger, and that's accessible to you. You could play all these games day one off the cloud, and that's their whole plan. And like I said, they really did a good job here.
Yeah, I tried a bit of it. Like, I have an iPhone, and I tried playing a bit of Banjo-Kazooie, for example. on the cloud, and it was working pretty good at first, coming through really well. I had some issues with the latency when it came to the controls, but I mean, otherwise, I was pretty impressed with the technology. I need to dabble with it more, try out some more games on the go. Granted, I was on my work's rather iffy Wi-Fi, but if I'm at home, I'll I'll definitely give it a go. But I mean, yeah, this is cool. Just being able to play your games on a go wherever. I realize that this is just a test for now, but who would have thought that we would have been here, a few years back, like 5, 6, 7 years ago, we're talking about playing our games on the go wherever we want through cloud. I mean, that's pretty,
through a click of a button, just honestly a mouse click. That's what at the heart that this is, and this is also the usage that they saw. I heard was very high, so a lot of people are doing it. But in this is definitely coming, and this is going to be a part of their whole entire offerings. This is a big part of it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Leonatis, have you had a chance at all to test out any of the xCloud gaming at all, or is that just not your thing?
No, I played it on PC, and I had no issues with it. I booted up Killer Instinct, was in real fast, got my matches started, and I had no issues whatsoever, because I was expecting stuttering or low frames, because with fighting games you have to worry about that.
Mm-hmm.
But I had no issues whatsoever. I was surprised.
Well, yeah, because I was about to say, with something like a fighting game, right, something very competitive, you need those stable frame rates and whatnot. You don't want any lag. So, I mean, you're saying you had a pretty positive experiences right off the bat with it?
Yeah, the only issue I can think of is like the graphics went down a little bit, but that's about it, which didn't bug me in the least. I mean,
Yeah.
You're worried more about frames than you are about what it looks like when it comes to those.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I mean, granted.
It's true.
Yeah, like
It's
granted.
True. You do notice it a little bit, but I just want to say that. Go ahead.
Oh, no, just granted, this is still early on, right? This is just a testing phase, so obviously things will improve. And like Tim said, they're going to be updating, the servers and whatnot. It's a slow process, but like, again, it'll come. It'll come. Centurion, have you had a chance to check out anything with regards to the cloud gaming as of yet? I know it's only been live for a couple of days with the Apple and PC anyways.
So we're talking like xCloud as a whole, right? We're not just talking like the iOS or PC side.
Well, I mean, at first with the iOS and PC, but like as a whole, if you'd like to comment, for sure.
Well, my only dealings with xCloud was obviously I've played around with it in the beta, wanted to try it out, see how the lag went. That was when they first started doing xCloud. And then I started trying. I kind of goofed off one day by suggestion of a good friend, and basically connected my phone to my TV and my controller and actually simulated pretty much having an Xbox on my my entertainment center by using my cell phone as the connection between my TV and xCloud. But for me, I was really wanting to get rid of latency, so I actually got a Kishi, and that right there, I guess totally kind of changed it for me when it came to latency. So every once in a while, I do think about packing my Kishi with me when it comes to going somewhere where I know that I'm probably going to have some downtime. I'll actually consider bringing it with me just because I know I have access to gaming and actually being able to play some of the games I'm actually playing right now are in xCloud. So to actually continue playing a game you're already playing, not have just I'm going to start this game just to kind of kill time and then I'll probably never get to it again. I like the fact that you're actually pretty much playing the games that you'd play at home.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And that's the thing, right? It's not just some side thing. It's the actual game that you're playing, which is excellent, right? So it just seems so futuristic.
And you
to
can
me.
turn on your console, and because of Cloud Sync, it will pick up right where you left off, pretty much.
Yeah, I mean, it just blows my mind where the technology is going these days. But yeah, guys, I mean, it is pretty exciting to see where xCloud is going. And granted, again, these are just testing phases that are going through right now, but it's very promising. Very promising. You know what, guys? Keeping with the Xbox news, and the series consoles just got 13 EA games to support frame rate boosts up to 120 frames per second. Wow. Games like Battlefield 4, 1, and 5, Titanfall, well, both Titanfall games actually, a bunch of Plants vs. Zombie Garden Warfare titles, and even more. I haven't had a chance to fire up any of these to test them out personally, but I've seen a lot of people posting positive things about these older titles. Tim, I know how much you enjoy your tech. You're kind of a technology and hardware junkie. How much of a difference does it mean to have some of these big EA games boosted to 120 frames?
Well, I'll tell you, I have the ability to actually test them and play them. I haven't tried them all, but the 120 frames per second thing, listen, it's good for the fact that it gives you the option. Also, Xbox's VRR, which is huge for this technology, because now if you're running, say, 110 or 105 and you're getting dips, you won't even see it with the VRR. You have to have a VRR capable television. You have to have a 4K 120 television, 2.1, I believe, to experience the 120. I think you can experience the 120 also on 2.0, especially at the lower resolutions. But listen, I'm not a frame crazy guy, but I'm also recognize that probably on this panel is more people that care about frames and resolution, and that overall people really care about the speed and access to frames per second, 60 frames per second, and some people care about 120. So just the ability that Xbox is offering this so readily, so many games. I think it's up to 49 games now support 120 frames per second. It's a huge deal. It's a huge win, and it's the product truth of what they put out there. They were saying 120 frames per second, and people were laughing at them. Do you guys remember that? There was talk of it, and like 120 frames per second, you'd say, yeah, right, you need a PC. That's not the case now. They broke that barrier, and not that it's expected, but it really has become expected, coming from them, and that's just because they've done so well here. So, I think, I'm so overly positive this podcast about Xbox, but the fact is that they deserve it. They're doing stuff like this just on a random Thursday. They drop this whole EA stuff, Battlefield, 420 frames per second, Titanfall, the Titan, what is it? What's the game?
Titanfall.
Titanfall, both of them, 120 frames per second, and it's like nothing now. Like we just take it in stride because that's how good Xbox has been. But overall, I want to test them. I've seen differences between 60 and 120, but again, depends on the game, depends on your eyes. Some people more, I fully believe, are much more sensitive to frames than others. Me, I've always been the guy that gives the developer "oh, it's okay" type deal. I don't go crazy because I remember playing games in the 90s where the slowdown would be, part where you laughed at the game and said, "Look at this, look what's going on here," and you didn't take it personally. Now, if these games are low frames or they're dropping first, people lose their minds. But for me, I've never been a frame type, aficionado or whatever you want to call it. But I do respect the fact that there are people like that, and they say and feel that they can see the difference and all that stuff. But just even the fact that Xbox is just offering 49 games right now just goes to show you that they came prepared.
Mm-hmm. Well, remember too that a month ago when they were starting to roll this out, people were kind of worried. It's like, oh, they saw Super Lucky's Tale, Sniper Elite 4, and
yeah, yeah,
right, and people, rightly so. But at the same time, you have to give this time, and they just gave some examples from a broad variety of genre of games, and now you got titles like, again, more recent titles like more heavy hitters, I guess you would say, heavy hitting franchises like a Battlefield, like a Titanfall, like a Plants vs. Zombies Garden Warfare. And these are very competitive games that, they're titles that you want to see, a nice boost in frame rate for the best overall experience for competitive gaming. And that, it's very impressive what they're doing.
So can I hop in real quick there, Invader?
Yeah, of course, buddy.
I know this game is not being boosted by Xbox. It has nothing. Well, technically, Xbox actually owns them, so you never know. We always got to throw ESO in there somehow with my world. But I have heard more hype lately from people talking about either A, wanting to get back into ESO, wanting to check out ESO, or I actually have a couple friends that are wanting to upgrade their console to a Series X for the upgrade of ESO, where they actually are going to pretty much give the game a new frame rate. Because we've all, us ESO fans have already been watching a lot of the stuff that's already capable on PC. But with ESO, you don't have cross save. So I pretty much have an account with hundreds of hours, hundreds of dollars invested into it, that I'm not going to just jump ship and go somewhere else and just completely abandon that. There's no way to transfer it over. So we've all been kind of seeing some of this stuff on PC, and pretty much the people I play with and talk to are all getting excited that it's starting to actually come to console now.
Yeah, man, damn, you and your ESO, between you, Forkboy, and Leonatis, damn, a lot of ESO players around here.
We're starting to grow.
I'm actually re-rolling a character now. Well, not right now, but tonight.
Ooh.
I'm going to try out a Templar.
See, that's the fun part about that game, is you can really pretty much build whatever you want and however you want to feel. I mean, we have one friend that will play with us occasionally, and that dude cannot keep his hands off stuff. He steals things constantly. So while we're doing our own thing, just trying to play the game, he is constantly running by with guards chasing him, trying to just like put him in jail. It's hilarious.
That's hilarious. Have that thief in your group.
People don't realize what happens when you get into a world like that, and they just start picking stuff up, and then all of a sudden they're being told that they gotta pay fines and all this other stuff, or they get attacked. And
oh man, that's pretty crazy. Let's see in the chat. 108 Dragons TV, Lemon with the $2 super chat. What's good, my gaming community? Thanks, Lemon. We really appreciate your support, buddy. And what's good, guys? What's good, people in the chat? Great to see you here. We got Reign of the Third Eye. Who else? Jesse Darby's joining us here. Lots of good people in the chat. Peter Sark, hey, buddy, great to see you. The Game Filter and many others. Again, thank you. Dalen's here as well. Very lively chat this evening. Also, guys, just so you know, some of these games you'll have to manually toggle the boost on and off. So some of them won't be initially 120 frames and so on. You'll have to there's a little toggle thing you'll have to do in the menu. And speaking of boosts, it seems like the Series X will be getting a graphics boost in the near future thanks to AMD. And in an announcement, AMD is bringing its Fidelity FX technology to the Series X and S consoles, giving developer kits new tools and features. Things like variable shading and contrast, adaptive sharpening, all kinds of cool stuff and effects that will greatly enhance games and just give them a much better look overall. And I don't know, it's very exciting to hear this kind of stuff. I don't know, guys. Do you guys think that this is, pretty good news for the future of Xbox? Like already, like these developer kits getting these enhancements. Like, what do you think, Bomber?
Yeah, I mean, I think having these tools finally, I guess coming up publicly that we finally know, hey, there are things that are finally getting out there that'll eventually start seeing in future projects or even current projects that'll start having them added. It's kind of like when we saw Unreal Engine 5, just waiting for these developers that are using 4 to go to 5. So I mean, just kind of it's just nice. I mean, it's going to make everything pretty. It's going to make everything just look better, run better. That way, the hardware's not doing all the work, so you'll have that software there to help with it. So it just kind of gives, you know, a good peace of mind. They're like, okay, cool. There's new stuff coming out there that's going to help out. And of course, this doesn't just only help just console gaming. This is going to help out AMD all in general. So it's just nice overall. I mean, it's definitely a good thing seeing it due to the fact of these games now they're getting so realistic and having so much more stuff on screen. All this extra fidelity is just going to make it pop even more, and it's just it makes me excited because I'm not gonna lie, I'm one of the ones that I do like pretty things. So if they keep on adding things in it to allow my games to look prettier, hey, I'm all for it.
Mm-hmm. No, and you're absolutely right. I mean,
Smart, eh?
Hey,
Look at the shiny.
dude, I am bad. I'm bad.
Oh, I
mean,
know.
It's
I know.
if it looks good, I mean that's the first thing that it catches my eye. So then I'm okay. Let me see more.
Somebody say squirrel.
Yeah, yeah, squirrel. So it's like as soon as I see something pretty, I'm like, ooh, there, shiny. So it's yeah. That's just unfortunately that's how I've always been.
Mm-hmm. No, I'm with you there, Bomber. I mean, I like having some pretty things too. It's that oh, there's a shiny there. Yeah, totally. And getting stuff like this added in is always a nice bonus. I mean, these were features that I believe were available to the PC earlier this year, and then they're just releasing them for these consoles now. I think only Xbox is getting them at the moment, but that's cool. I like it. I like that they're adding this stuff, and it just makes me really excited to see. Already the games are looking pretty sharp so far from some teases we've seen of upcoming games, and I'm just excited to see what we have in store down the line, so that just makes me very excited for these consoles. But yeah, like Centurion, what do you think? Like when with AMD adding all this, these new features and tools in, I mean, how do you feel about these upgrades coming to the Xbox consoles in the near future?
I feel pretty good. We all see now the fruits of Microsoft's labor on, sometimes it's not always good to be the first one out of the gate and get a dev kit in a developer's hands. We heard how Microsoft got their developer kits kind of in the developer's hands late in the game. So they weren't able to kind of implement some of this stuff, and now they're starting to talk about it. And man, the future is looking grand. We are going to see games with new tech. We're going to see new games. We're going to see new franchises that get a resurgence. I mean, I am excited in general for gaming, at least for the next, 5-10 years.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, we got a pretty bright future in store for us. And I'll admit, when it comes to like some of this dev toolkit talk, like it's Greek to me in a lot of ways. Some of the stuff they talk about, some of the features, but I do understand some things, and it is pretty cool and exciting. So yeah, I mean that's coming down the line.
Well, they're wanting to also make these, excuse me, they're wanting to make these dev kits and their tools also extremely readily available. So that way, pretty much anybody or anyone who has a dream of making a game will have an avenue of some way, shape, or form of being able to achieve that.
Mm-hmm. I guess the thing that I would really like to see is a game filter in the chat list off one of them, like better physics, for example. And I don't know if that's a thing in this update coming, but I mean, just better AI overall. A game, video game AI, it hasn't really advanced that much in my opinion. And I would just like to see some, I don't know, just some more adaptive AI when you're like, shooting at things, right? So that's what I
Who was
always.
it that just said that they actually? It might have been Outriders, but I forget. Somebody just recently told me that they were actually pleasantly surprised with the AI in a recent game, and I think it may have actually been Outriders. I may be completely wrong, but they were talking about how the AI was actually trying to flank them while they were basically concentrating on somewhere else. So
Yeah,
we're already
their
starting
AI
to
is pretty
see
good.
developers kind of playing around with new forms of AI.
Mhm. Yeah, actually, you know what? That makes a lot of sense too, because I mean, while I did see them like crouch by barriers at times, they were flanking pretty often. So make a good point there. Yeah. But yeah, guys. I mean, either way, some pretty exciting stuff. And yes, game filter, I agree as well. Also, destruction. Yeah, I would like to see that. And funny enough, I got some destroy all humans here, and I'm blowing up all kinds of buildings and whatnot. So very timely on that.
Well, have you seen because I had to do some basically I was checking out a game that was being done by Focus Interactive. And they have a game, oh my god. It's where you literally take up it's on PC right now, but it's coming to Xbox, where you like the premise of the game is you take apart structures in space, and it like they're trying to implement some kind of new destruction physics, and somehow if you look at this game is totally a test for these physics. The whole premise of the game is you just basically break things down and destroy them, and some of the screenshots actually looked pretty cool.
You know what? I think I know which game you're talking about. Just the name's eluding me at the moment. Guys in the chat, do you know which game?
It's like Space Destructor or something
Hmm.
like that.
Yeah, I gotta look that up. But either way, guys,
Yeah, I have no idea.
yeah, just stuff like that. You know, again, it makes me excited for the future or the near future of gaming and the possibilities, and just the advancements overall. But you know what, guys, on to some other news, and it looks like Sony really doesn't want games it's close to going on to Xbox Game Pass. Spotted a few days ago, some documents have popped up that Sony and Capcom have agreed to not have Resident Evil Village on Xbox Game Pass, or xCloud Gaming, or even Xbox Live Gold for up to 1 year after its release. Not only that, but Sony would have exclusive rights to decide if the game can even appear on subscription services, which is very, very interesting. Granted, I can't say if this has been verified yet, but it would make sense for a deal like this to happen for Sony. And I've read through the documents a bit, anyways, and it does look legit in my opinion. Let's see here, Leonatis. Do you think that this would be a legitimate? Do you think that this could be a legitimate deal between Capcom and Sony, like for again to keep this off Game Pass and so on? Like it's a threat to them.
Well, I'm not surprised by the exclusive deal because they did it with Street Fighter. Like when Street Fighter 5 came out, it's only on PlayStation, and then later down the line it went to PC. So it doesn't surprise me in the least. And that might be Sony's way of keeping games off Game Pass because Capcom's had a few of them on there. I mean, I think Monster Hunter World's still on Game Pass.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
And Resident Evil 7.
yeah. Well, that's true. I mean, Resident Evil 7 was a pretty big get. I remember like a year or two ago, put into the service, and yeah, it was doing pretty well for them. I know I downloaded it and gave it a go. Very, very high profile game there. It's just like even I don't know, like these deals that Sony's making, they're very aggressive just to compete with Game Pass alone, just focusing on this one Xbox service. Well, pretty much, anyways. I don't know. It like, do you think that Game Pass kind of scares them in a way?
Well, yeah, if they want to make money. I mean, that's all it is about is, getting those subscriptions sold. So, of course, they're going to try to make it so that Game Pass can't get more games because most people are just going to be like, oh, I can just play it for free because that's how they think on Game Pass. So why would they buy it for their PlayStation? Makes no sense.
Mm-hmm. Well,
Even though
yeah.
it is not free, you actually pay for Game Pass.
Well, yeah, exactly. It's not a free deal, but I mean, you do look at some of the deals that Sony's made. I mean, obviously, with the Microsoft acquisition of Bethesda, well, some games won't be coming to Xbox too quickly. You look at the deals they made for Ghostwire Tokyo and Deathloop, for example, whether it be 6 to 12-month exclusivity. There's been other games like for Square Enix's Forspoken that I think it's either 1 or 2 year exclusivity.
It's a 2-year one.
Yeah,
There's actually a new Square Enix game coming to Xbox and Game Pass day one.
Which one?
Dragon Quest Builder 2.
Oh, is that a newer announcement?
Yeah, it just happened like 10, 20 minutes ago.
Oh, no shit, huh?
Yeah.
Oh,
Or
damn.
an hour, excuse me.
Get your time right. Dang it.
My bad.
Ah, dang! I need to really get on those announcements. Damn, guys in the chat,
It
let
got
us know.
sent to me. That's the only reason I knew.
Oh yeah,
I'm known as the JRPG guy, so people send it to me.
the JRPG. So Builder, illuminate me. Is that like? Do you have to like what kind of a game is it exactly? Do you know?
Basically, you have to build settlements, take on monsters, find materials to build your settlements, make gear, weapons. It's a really fun game. And they have like a creative mode and a story mode, just like how Minecraft does it. Except for Dragon Quest Builder is 100 times better than Minecraft.
Bam! Shots fired.
That's
Ooh.
to me. I mean, other
Oh,
people
yeah.
can say otherwise, but I never got into Minecraft, so
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, I mean, I'll have to agree with you on that. Minecraft isn't exactly what I call my cup of tea, but I can understand why people enjoy it though.
like there's a survival mode, but there's no like story. Like there's no characters to it, so I'm just like, eh. Like the creative part was fun for a little bit, but that's all I got into. Like I made a skull mountain with lava coming out of the eyes in Minecraft.
Ooh, attractive.
I decided to make it evil layer. That was the whole point.
Hey man, get creative. That's what it's there for, right? You can make whatever you want.
I was more creative in Fallout 4. They had these little like light squares that you can build on your settlements. I literally made like 12-foot tall versions of Mega Man, Metroid, and their 8-bit versions on the settlement.
Oh man, that's about all right. That's pretty cool. I'd like to see some of that. Yeah, Centurion, what do you think about this document? All these legal documents between Sony and Capcom. Yeah, just what do you think of this deal overall?
Sony's grasping at straws. I'm not trying to be mean. So I could see why they would want to do this. This is totally something Sony would do. I'm just curious though how Sony is definitely going to try to be the company that dictates to developers how they can make money, because eventually I feel like they're going to kind of back themselves into a corner, and nobody's going to want to put up with that anymore, because there's who really wants somebody to tell them what to do with a product that they made. I'm surprised that if Capcom would let them even do this. Does Capcom even want Resident Evil in Game Pass? I don't know, but it just seems really weird to give control over even. I can see timed exclusivity, but for them to have control whether it goes ever, I just really feel that's far reaching even for Sony, because Sony needs to realize that, eventually they're going to put themselves in a position where developers aren't going to want to deal deals with them just because they're trying to do underhanded stuff like this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, it's really aggressive by them to do this. Like,
How is it underhanded?
What do you mean?
Well,
Like Xboxes did it before. Like they did with Tomb Raider, Rise of the Tomb Raider. They made it so you could only. It was a year
Well, that's the only
exclusive.
thing. But no, what I mean by underhanded is by for PlayStation to say we retain the rights to control whether or not it goes to Game Pass ever. You know, I can understand saying year, 2 years, but to try to say we have full control over that decision at any time in the game's existence, I just
Mm-hmm.
feel that's like a little far reaching.
Well, to be fair, I mean, even with like Rise of the Tomb Raider, Microsoft helped to fund the game, so I think that's why they.
Well, but
Yeah.
Microsoft also did not say the game stays permanently in our system. You know, it was a clear stated 1 year timed exclusivity. Microsoft wasn't trying to come out and say, "Well, we did this deal, but we wanted to make sure that Square Enix knew that we let them put Tomb Raider on PlayStation." That was never Xbox's stance in. That's where I don't know if PlayStation is going to try to be that company where like, well, we let them put Resident Evil on Game Pass. And for me, just the way I feel, I they didn't create Resident Evil. They're not Capcom. They have nothing to do with Resident Evil. They have no business holding total control over anything of that franchise.
I think they own a lot more Capcom than people know. Ever since
See
they brought them back.
that now I haven't dug into Capcom. Capcom is definitely not one of my companies where I like want to know everything about them. But if that's the case, then definitely it changes the playing field a little bit because then that definitely puts the ball in Sony's court. We see companies all the time are able to make changes on a corporate level just because of owning large stock shares in a company.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, if you're. Go ahead, Tim.
No, I just want to say for me, I think that they're well within their right to do this. This is what they do. This is a way that they, can compete or diffuse some of the Game Pass momentum. But here's the thing. Now, it might be that they got away with a little bit of more of the deal this time around. But if they continue this where they say, hey, you can't put our game on Game Pass, what's going to happen is that marketing deal is going to cost them more and more money because there might be a developer that says, "Hey, I'm going to go market with Sony, and then after 6 months, I want to look into Game Pass and to utilize Game Pass and all the things the eyeballs and everyone playing the game, so that becomes an asset to that developer. So Sony is going to put themselves in a position that's not a good position to be in to fend off and try to get every marketing deal that you have, and to also include, keeping it off Game Pass. Now, if that's the case, which moving forward could be, like I said, that's not really a proactive plan to negate Game Pass because what's going to happen then is that Xbox is going to say, okay, you piss us off now, we're going to do Battlefield 6 and we're going to do, two other games, game day one, and we're going to shove it up, where, like they kind of did with the show. So I do think that this is right now where the whole model is going, or the market for it, if you want to say, for lack of better words. But there is going to be this, this strategic type stuff to use against Game Pass. And also, in their defense, Xbox kind of did them dirty. Well, I don't want to say do them dirty, but definitely with the whole show thing, that in itself, kind of probably opened their eyes to this type of stuff. And if not, they already knew that they were going to try to, cut Game Pass exclusivity. They're going to even try it more. But again, like I said, that proposition I don't think holds up for them because the more and more Game Pass gets more and more, accessible, and the numbers are crazy, and if it goes the way it's going, like these developers are saying, where when you put your game in Game Pass, you get a crazy influx of people playing your game, people spending money on microtransactions or whatever the case may be, the way they make money off of a Game Pass. venture, that because that has a price on its head. And again, their marketing deals now, instead of being 300, whatever, just 36 million, now is going to have to be 45 million, and it's just going to be more and more expensive for them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's the thing, right? There's gonna be a lot more aggressive stance from them because, again, Xbox, like you said, you look at the whole MLB thing, right? They were very, very aggressive with getting MLB into Game Pass day one, no less, and that took a huge wind out of Sony for sure. I mean, that was a big driving force for people to go be like, oh hey, you know what, I'll go play that on Xbox instead, just because, again, the Game Pass alone, and the ease of access to play. So I don't know, these types of deals, it's going to be interesting to see within the next few months or even the next year, what other kind of deals will be coming out of this. But it's just interesting seeing Sony make these kinds of moves. I know some of the guys in the chat here are finding it pretty interesting. Sony's just kind of hurt because of MLB, Jesse Darby, and so on. Yeah. But again, that's business, guys. That's the business of it all. So it's just going to be interesting.
And I think it also establishes the fact that Invader. It also establishes the fact that Game Pass no longer is an afterthought. Like, people made fun of Game Pass and said it was a fodder machine, and it was it's for poor people. It's $1. It's free. It's you can only play old games. But the thing is that none of that was true, and now you're getting to the point where it's becoming a value proposition that nobody really can match. And that's where it's becoming really strong. And the recognition now is that you see Sony recognizing and saying, hey, this Game Pass is a problem, man. We got to keep it off of there. Let's get it in wording. If we're going to have a marketing deal, let's get Game Pass exclusivity or off of it. Mm-hmm. Let's keep it away from there. It's because they realize how big Game Pass is getting. And quite frankly, they're in a bad business. They're on their heels. I've said this for years. Their lack of foresight during the years that they were absolutely killing it with games, and they definitely proved that point. They kind of forgot to do the stuff on the back end, the back end, or where Microsoft is like, hey, we lost this gen. We're going to do Game Pass. We're going to do XCloud. We're going to do this. We're going to do that. We're going to do that. We're going to have this, and this, and they kind of are at the point where, establishing their first party, where everything that they've done is planned for next generation. It's starting to show fruits of the labor, as Sartorian said, completely true. I tweeted about that a little while back, was because now all this is starting to show, and now you have Sony in a defensive position. It's kind of like they were always on the offense. Now they're in the defensive. Hey, let's market a deal. Let's get it off of Game Pass. Hey, let's try to combat that. They're not coming back with, hey, here's my PSN Game Pass, competitor. They can't probably do it for a couple of reasons, and that's just not what they want to do, maybe. But it is what it is.
Hey, Tim, you're seeing also a lack in evolution in the thought process in the higher ups of Sony. Rather than trying to be like Microsoft on trying to figure out ways of putting their ecosystem in everybody's hands, they're still just trying to cook up ways of keeping content off of other ecosystems.
Yeah, it's true. And that's why I said that's not a position you want to be in. You're playing defense now. You're playing... if you're, for lack of better words, again, playing chess and you're on the defensive and you're getting checked and you're playing out of check, you're trying to keep yourself, surviving. That's where they're at right this. They're not coming competitive forefront with certain features that people are saying wow about, or they don't have and more and more the Game Pass that Game Pass, drum that Xbox keeps, hitting, there's no answer to it, and I don't think there's any. I think that they thought maybe we'll add movies to it,
Hmm.
but with this community, this is the gaming community is going to kill that, and in a way, it could hurt them. You know what I mean? Because you don't want to be associated like Xbox was with other than gaming, and I think Sony's just like you said, Centurion. There's not much. There's not much there. They weren't planning like Xbox was, and they didn't seem to have you know foresight to see what's going on, or what's ahead of them. The whole model's changing, and here they are, kind of antiquated. In my opinion, if it keeps going the way it's going, and they don't, and they had a potential that they could have had a game service like Game Pass that would make them a ton of money too. But I think that as the days go by and as it goes, the lack of just the way it's going, I don't think that you'll see that competitor. They'll probably just do what they're doing, and who knows? Maybe it'll still work, but I have my doubts.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, we talk about Game Pass a lot, but I mean, it really is an industry changing kind of thing where, again, the engagement numbers, the sales of game, the revenue, and so on, like it's proving very sustainable, and there's a lot of profit driving this. And it was amazing the naysayers before this that were just saying, oh, it's not going to work, it's going to fail, they're going to.
Yeah.
And, or even I remember, oh, they're crazy for putting their first party games at day one in there. And just, there are a whole bunch of other things. And it's just amazing how the narrative has changed and just how much it's been a benefit for games, and developers are trying to get their games on there. It's insane. And that's, just a sign of the times and just how where the industry is going. And you're right, Tim. I mean, Sony's good for a number of things. I mean, the PlayStation brand has a lot of good things going for it. Same with Nintendo and so on, just for different reasons. But you look at where Xbox has been, and one of the big positivities of them has been how much they listen to their consumers for the most part, and where their services have been going. And Game Pass is just a big part of that. And something like this, it's a big driver for industry change. And Sony could be, it seems like they're kind of caught, with their tail between their legs on this one.
Yeah. Well, they're caught flat-footed. They don't know where to go. They publicly said it's not sustainable. Ryan, I don't think is a good leader. I don't think that. I think that they could do better than him, and I think he is stunting them in a way. But listen, they have a tremendous brand. They have brand recognition, and people love Sony. I don't think that that's going to end anytime soon. I think that there'll always be a strong competitor. But what Microsoft is doing and what they're laying, we all can see the path. That's the thing. We all of us here, and even Sony guys, I'm sure can see the path of this or where this is going. And you look at Sony's side, and they're kind of like up in the air, like they're just going to go with the same model. Are they? They're not going to have any of these features matched. Where we're working on the world is becoming more tech oriented, more on the go, and everything like for them not to have or they have probably an answer in xCloud down the line. They must be 3-5 years behind the ball right now. Look how long xCloud has taken to get to just this point. You think that it's going to just work on PlayStation? It's going to take a long time, and they don't have an answer for that. They don't have an answer for a lot of these things that just seem to be the obvious way that you would go. Especially the way the trends are going and everything. The Game Pass thing just makes way too much sense, and now they're using it as their they're using it to their advantage, and I don't think that's going to stop anytime soon.
Right. Well, either way, guys, it's gonna be interesting to see where the validity of these documents with the Resident Evil Village, Capcom, and Sony. But I mean, again, Sony and Capcom can work out these deals, and they're aggressive in their own ways. So again, we'll see how what happens with that one. But guys, we will move on to our last topic of the night, and there's a lot of talk in the chat actually about what we're going to talk about now. People definitely want us to chime in on this. An interesting rumor has been making the rounds the past 24 hours, guys. Last night on the Xbox 2 podcast, Windows Central Jez Corden hinted at something going on between IO Interactive and Xbox Global Publishing. Now, Centurion, I don't know about you, but I tend to really take a listen when Jez says to keep an eye on IO Interactive. Do you think that there could be a deal going on here between IO and Xbox? What do you think about this whole situation with the rumor mills spinning out of control right now?
I'm just excited because of what the rumor mill says the game's gonna be about. I could care less if they're gonna get marketing rights or if Xbox is gonna buy out IO. I don't know. This has gone so many different ways. Other than I am ecstatic over the fact that apparently IO is working on a James Bond game. I mean, they even have a link for it on the internet. You can check it out. They have let everybody know it's called Project 007. And what I've read about it is they made one very good speech to the two hands that actually control the James Bond franchise. You have MGM, who controls the marketing or the actual film rights to it. And then you have the Borselli family. You got to remember, I think his name was like Andrew. I forget his actual first name, but the gentleman who actually created the James Bond character, his last name was Borselli, and his family retained the rights to do this. So the fact that MGM and the Borselli family both signed up on this for IO to do this, I'm excited for. We see a lot of rumors actually kind of when it comes to entertainment in general right now. We got Bethesda with Indiana Jones, another entertainment franchise-based game. We've got IO doing 007, James Bond. I mean, I really see a different avenue for gaming because we've always heard, beat that bandwagon, Microsoft, Xbox, we need a character or something like Spider-Man. Somehow PlayStation has really taken the Marvel universe and really made it feel like PlayStation has a niche in the Marvel universe just because of how they control the Spider-Man character. And I really feel that I've seen some other articles and talks about this on how Microsoft is going to try this approach, but they are not going to tackle it through like comic books and Marvel. They're wanting to go a different route with entertainment in general, with probably games with IO, with James Bond, Bethesda and LucasArts with games like Indiana Jones. We've already seen great headway with Microsoft always having a good amount of marketing rights for Star Wars games, especially on the Xbox console. So, I mean, I'm really looking forward to what Microsoft is, an avenue of what I think Microsoft is going to try to do, because in my opinion, Sony has really knocked it out of the park on being a company that is associated with entertainment. They own their own film production company, for God's sakes. And I really feel that Microsoft sees this and almost wants to somehow feel like that is a gap that they can fill too, that they can fill a void in their ecosystem with games that come from a film-based world. Does that make sense? I bored everybody. You went quiet. Everybody went, yeah, here we go.
No, I think what you're saying is, I do think the Bond game will be multi-plat, But
It's going to be multi-plat, but I think they're just going to bank on the fact that the minute you see that Xbox logo up there with James Bond or Indiana Jones, I mean, like, the signed, sealed, delivered. Who cares about where else it's at?
right, but I do think, yeah, I agree. I do think that they might be exploring some type of big name blockbuster type of exclusivity type thing that they can try to get, or a recognizable name and attach an IP to it. Yeah, I think that's definitely something that the possibility, because they know how, you look at Spider-Man, anytime you do something like that, usually if you put the if you do a good development team, you do something like, let's just say the Hulk. We're going to make a Hulk game, or we're going to make another superhero game. Most of the time, Black Panther, which would be my choice. And you have like a really good developed team behind that. That's most likely an instant blockbuster hit if you get the game and you could just get it right, because people want to see Spider-Man. People want to see these superheroes in action on video games. And I think Microsoft, there is part of them on their, I do believe their goals are very lofty right now. And I do think that they think that, big name, blockbuster type stuff is needed. And, to the point though, for this rumor, I do think it's true, because I've heard it for a long time, and what it could be, it's interesting. But I do think global publishing is also going to be another development arm for Xbox, if you would say, where you can get 3 AAAs, possibly 4 AAAs made by studios that are obviously just they're part of global publishing. They're not you're not owned, but you're going to see some of that too. That's how strong Xbox is pushing the proposition of games right now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
If I can just say, I could see the superhero argument, and it would be shocking if Microsoft never wanted to approach the superhero character and trying to do something like Sony has done with Spider-Man. But I do like the idea that maybe Microsoft wants to do something at least different in the same vein of what Sony has done without having to do a superhero, because I feel like we've known for a long time that Microsoft has always been compared to PlayStation. So I just feel that maybe them doing a superhero for the first one isn't exactly a great avenue for that.
Well, what I had heard was that they were going to explore more of the Lucasfilm IP. Like, again...
See, that would be completely different.
Yeah.
So, like, okay, like they talk about Indiana Jones.
Right. Yeah, but the Lucasfilm slant is that sounds like that's the usual suspect right now, what we're talking about. So Tony made some great points, but yeah, I think it's Lucas films that makes sense. They're going to use some of those IPs and stuff like that, I think, exclusively.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, whether that be, okay, there's Indiana Jones. Lucasfilm has Star Wars. Again, guys in the chat, there might be some other IP that's eluding me at the moment that's a part of Lucasfilm in particular. Obviously, I know that they're under Disney. But guys, keep in mind the Bond game isn't the only one that's apparently in development. IO Interactive have been very chatty the past few weeks. They came out, they opened up a brand new studio in Barcelona, Spain. They're working on a new IP, apparently. They also made a statement about, they had stated that they had received a really, really attractive acquisition offer after they split with Square Enix. That was 2 years ago, so who knows who that could have been. I mean, for all I know, it could have been Xbox made them an offer, but I'm assuming they want to keep their independence because again, they split from Square Enix. Bomber, what do you think about all this? Do you think there's something going on here between IO Interactive and Xbox?
I feel like there's some type of deal. I don't know about acquisition. I mean, I feel like anything could be talked about, and it feels like it's like everybody just goes straight for, oh, they're going to be acquired, and I feel like they may not be the exact choice. It's kind of like actually just exactly the point you made is, they just left a company. Why would they want to be underneath another company? I can see them doing multiple deals. I can see multiple deals, kind of like what we already talked about uh, with the Lucasfilm games. Because if you think about it, there's a lot of teams now doing Star Wars games. I could easily see Microsoft, possibly getting something along those lines. You never know. But this IO thing, I just feel like it's some type of deal, whether that's with the Bond game, maybe they get a year exclusivity. I mean, I don't know. I mean, it's a project currently, so it's something that could be pushed out. We don't know when it's coming. We just know they're in works of making it. So there's plenty of time for other deals to be had. To me, it's more or less just it may happen, it may not. I mean, it may just be something that they have marketing rights and that's all they're doing, and everything you see is going to have Xbox slapped on it. It's almost as bad as seeing MLB The Show. You see more Xbox with MLB The Show than you do with PlayStation, which is quite funny, with them actually being the ones making it. But so yeah, I mean, it's hard. I mean, especially nowadays. I mean, because we just sit back and as strong as we know that, like, the CEO Microsoft's already said we plan on buying more. Like, this is not it. And so, granted, yeah, I could say sure that IO could be that team that they go after. I don't know if it's necessarily right now or later on, but I mean, like I said earlier, their pockets are deep, and they want to fulfill stuff that's gonna benefit them in the future, which is, of course, cloud gaming and, of course, Game Pass. So the more they can get added to Game Pass, whether that's kind of like a deal with Outriders, being able to add that third-party game day and date may not be a marketing thing, may not be anything other than just it's coming to Game Pass day and date. That's huge in itself. We've seen that with MLB The Show and Outriders already, so it could be a numerous of things.
I don't know. I think that they could be going after that very lucrative Howard the Duck game. So, you never know.
Yeah.
I could see it as a point and click. That'd be pretty cool, actually.
Well, maybe something along the lines of Leisure Suit Larry, but Howard the Duck version.
Or Monkey Island or something like that.
Absolutely.
I'd play it.
Oh man, that'd be crazy. But I mean, as far as the whole James Bond thing goes, I mean, we know that game is coming, but I mean, it's possible. I just think it's going to be a multi-plat, personally.
I don't see how it would be exclusive because Columbia Pictures is attached to James Bond, and that is owned by Sony. So I don't see why they would allow one of their properties to be only attached to Xbox. You know what I mean?
That's a true statement. But could be a deal for Game Pass day and date. Never know. Could be one of those things.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, no, it could very well be, guys. I mean, again, we're just speculating here because of all this IO Interactive talk that came up the other night. But it's just, again, very exciting times when you're talking about a studio like IO Interactive, which, again, a few months ago they released the new Hitman game. That has been getting very positive commentary and reviews on it. Everything seems to be coming out very good for that game, and IO just seems like a very competent student. It's a very studio, a very storied studio, and again, I'd be excited to see Xbox work with them. So I guess time will tell, but either way, I don't know. I'm looking forward to see what's coming in the near future, and I know a lot of people in the chat are just very excited at the thought of a 007 game or just anything from coming from IO Interactive. So we'll just have to wait and
not.
see. Oh.
I never got into the Hitman series, and I'm guessing it's just going to be like that, slow.
I hope they definitely go a different route. Like, I mean, because we all just know IO Interactive as Hitman, so I would hope they would do something completely different, which is, at least that's what I'm crossing my fingers for as far as them making it. I don't want to.
I think the only other thing they did was Kane and Lynch, wasn't it? I think that was the one game they did.
Freedom Fighters, I believe, as well.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because they purchased both, I think, Hitman and Freedom Fighters from Square Enix, if I'm not mistaken.
So, can I hop in real quick? Because what he said made me look something up.
Go for it.
Yeah, there's no way that that James Bond game is not going to be multiplat. It looks like Sony purchased MGM, which is why we saw them under Columbia Pictures, because technically it says here Sony is going to capitalize on the MGM film library, and MGM actually has a pretty good film library. So yeah, that game ain't gonna be nothing but multiplat.
Did MGM make Wizard of Oz?
Oh, yeah, they did. They've done a lot of good stuff.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Dude, yeah, they've done a lot of good stuff. Freaking God, I could have. Didn't MGM do Stargate?
I don't even know.
I'm
not good with movie studios.
I believe
because
because
I'm sci-fi nerd on some level, and there's been a lot of rumblings on the actual franchise of Stargate starting to like rumble around in Hollywood again. Like somebody's actually trying to restart the franchise. And I know MGM has been dead for a while, so I've been kind of wondering who it is. And now that I know Sony bought MGM, I'm like, well, that explains it.
Well, I guess so. I mean, either way, I mean, they are a. We'll see what happens, guys. Either way, like,
just time will tell.
no, that's one of the things. Time will tell. Again, I think that the James Bond game will be multiplat, and again, they do have a brand new studio developing a new IP. So either way, that's pretty exciting stuff. But guys, I think on that note, that about does it for tonight's show. And I gotta say, it's been a fun chat tonight, my friends. Really good discussions on Xbox Game Pass, Xbox Series console boosts, and yeah, just right now, IO Interactive and so much more. And to those of you that joined us tonight live, we really appreciate all the support. Definitely some good energy in the chat there. Lots of excitement from you guys going off. And hey guys, if you could, consider dropping a like and subscribe to keep up to date on all things TXR. Now I'm going to move over to my friends from the Gaming Beyond the Box podcast. Guys, it was a real treat having you on here. Let's get to your outros. Starting off with Leonatis. Thank you, buddy, for coming on.
Leonatis.
Leonatis.
I think lion, but with tendonitis. That's how I came up with it.
Oh, okay, that's where it's coming from. But okay,
because I played Perfect World International a long time ago, and they have a class called a barbarian, and you get to choose between like 3 different animals, and I picked a green lion with red hair, and I was like Leo, and then I was trying to think of something to go with it instead of just Leo, and I was like, oh, Nitus, there we go. That's where the name came from.
All right. Well, no, that's cool, man. I was actually kind of curious where that name came from. But yeah, thanks for coming on, buddy. Where can everybody follow you at?
Leonatis 1084 everywhere, and you can find me Wednesday nights at 8 on Gaming Beyond the Box. That's it. Thanks for coming out.
All right. Well, much appreciated, brother. Moving on over to HRBomber. Hey, buddy. Great show, and thanks for joining us. Where can everybody find you at?
Of course, you can find me on the wonderful Twitter at HRBomber1414. Of course, along with Leo as well on Wednesday nights, Gaming Beyond the Box at 8
I don't know what he's talking
Eastern.
about. I don't know him.
Yeah, you don't know me. It's fine. It's fine. But no, I definitely appreciate the invite. Definitely was fun. Absolutely loved it.
Oh, MGM does own Stargate, by the way.
Oh, nice.
Damn, that's a nice IP to have.
At least if they ever make a video game of it, they got, freaking the one dude that played in Stargate doing Kratos.
Oh, Christopher Judge.
Yeah. I can never remember his name.
Teal.
I just remember Indeed.
Indeed.
I remember him for Boy.
yeah, I don't think we'll ever not know him from Boy.
No, he did that in Stargate, and he did it in God of War. It's funny. He had a son in Stargate, and he would say it the exact same way.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, that's right. Never. Yeah, good point there, guys.
I think he was nicer in Stargate, though. There was less emotion in it.
Yeah.
Because Kratos, he's just like, boy. And it's like, oh fuck, what did I do?
I don't know.
Sorry for cursing. I didn't realize.
I don't know. Teal'c in Stargate. I mean, there are just times where he just stare blankly into the screen. So I mean, it's hard to get more stone than that. But hey guys, thank you, country gentlemen in the chat, for dropping that $15 Xbox code. That's very kind of you, my friend. I'm sure whoever got that appreciated that. Whoever claimed that, definitely let us know in the chat. That's really cool, man. Thank you. But yeah, guys, thank you for joining us, the guys from the Gaming Beyond the Box crew. Fantastic show, guys. Definitely check them out if you got the chance, with Wilmy Hood Lady and the rest of them. Great crew out there. Next, we'll move over to the TXR crew, and I'll start with TimDog. Buddy, always bringing your A game each show, my friend. Where can everybody follow you at?
XcloudTimdog on Twitter. Great job by Leonatis and HRBomber. I hope I said that right, Leo.
Yeah, you did it. You got it.
I was nervous. But you guys honestly are great. I look forward to seeing your show on Wednesday night, 8 p.m. Yeah, definitely. I will check in. I'll hit the chat. I'll maybe do a super chat. But thank you for coming. Good show tonight, and hopefully next week we have some stuff to talk about. I mean, E3's coming. It's coming, and I think it's 6 weeks away. So maybe we get some news tomorrow or this week. Haven't heard anything. It's not a teaser or anything. I'm just wondering because we're getting kind of close. So thanks for everyone who tuned in, all the super chats and all the comments. I appreciate you coming out every Sunday. If you want to get in touch with me or you want to game or whatever, hit me up. XcloudTimdog, that's Twitter, and also Xbox.
Yeah, well said, Tim. And yeah, definitely everybody keep your eyes open on tomorrow and Monday. Xbox seems to like to drop some news to start off the week, so we'll keep our eyes peeled there for sure. Moving on over to Centurion, buddy. Good show as always. Where can everybody follow you at?
For real, really great, awesome show. Thank you to our guests for being here. Definitely fun chatting with you guys. It has been a blast. Definitely after this, though, I got to go sign my petition for Days Gone 2. We got to force Sony to do that. For those who want to tune in, though, please be sure to find me at Centurion1307 on YouTube, Xbox Live, and Twitter. You can find me here every Sunday night on the TXR podcast, and you can also find me every Saturday night on the Shop podcast.
Nice.
You didn't
Unfortunately,
sign the petition, Invader?
you know what? I might just have to. Well, to be honest, I haven't played Days Gone, but I plan to very soon. I'm just getting through Uncharted.
I joke around.
I know.
I was looking on my Google feed, and it's all petition now forcing Sony to, and I'm like, oh my god, are we really at this point?
They make a petition about anything that really makes fanboys mad anymore. It's like, good grief.
Yeah, well, we need to make a petition to get TXR onto PlayStations at some point. But anyways, guys, unfortunately, Shockley could not make it out this evening. He was trying to, but don't worry, guys. You will see him back next Sunday. And to round this all off, to cap it all off, this is Invader, and you can find all my gaming-related videos, whether it be reviews or guides, on YouTube at Invader Gaming. Guys, again, fantastic show. We appreciate all you guys who were in the chat and whatnot for being here, and we look forward to seeing you all here next Sunday. Until next time, folks,